Hi everybody, welcome and welcome back. It's me again, CHAMELEON GIRL. Today make some pot roast. The type of meat that I like to use is a beef chuck cross rib roast, boneless. And so I'm going to show you guys exactly what that's looking like. And the seasonings to go with it, I'm not going to show you right now. Like, here's everything you'll need. I will put it in, I promise you, I will put it in the description box, and then you will have the link or list to everything that you're going to need for this recipe that is pure madness. It's going to be the best roast that you've had. I know some people may wonder why I'm not using like just a chuck roast. And the reason why is because the chuck roast is just like so much fat. And sometime recently I had this center cut. And I had one when my mom was in the hospital. Because that was her favorite thing in the hospital. Everybody say hospital food nasty. But anyway, this should be good. So let's get busy. We're now going to go ahead and we're going to, after our meat has been washed thoroughly, of course, we want to pat it dry. And just remove any excess moisture that could be on there. Okay. So then, after we do that, we're going to take, this is about a total of, how many pounds do we have? This is a total about 4 pounds. In the meantime, you want to have your cast iron skillet, in my case skillet. So we want to turn those on to about medium heat here. And let those be getting warmed up while we get our seasonings going. I want to make sure that you are fully aware that you need to, at all times when you're cooking anything with gravies, stews, almost anything, you're always going to run into where you need some water. Have your water handy. I usually keep about 4 cups handy. Okay guys, we'll start with our all-purpose seasoning. This is by Malibu. And we'll go ahead and we'll be generous with it. And we're putting a lot on it because what we're going to end up doing is rubbing it all over the meat. So we're not going to flip it side by side. We're just going to put all of our seasoning right in one area. And then we're going to mix it all up with a little oil on the meat. So it's no need to keep flipping your meat and then touching your your another seasoning and then I don't know, the bacteria. But anyway, and then we're going to use some garlic powder. Any brand is fine. We're going to be very, very heavy on that. If you like garlic. There was a time in my life where I only cooked with onion powder and I didn't like garlic, period. So onion is good really a lot. So then I'm going to use some accent. And then I'm also pouring it on the board as well. So I could dip it in there and get more and more seasoning. Some garlic salt. Now I know you guys are probably saying, well, you put the garlic powder. Well, garlic salt and garlic powder have a very, very different flavor. And I will be careful with how much of it, that I'm adding, because although I do like more sodium and stuff than some other people, is still, I don't want to give myself a whole heart attack eating all that salt. So then, of course, I'll put some pepper, and I'll put some pepper on the board. And now that we have added what we need a little paprika. We'll be liberal on that. Paprika has no flavor. Everybody says smoked paprika and this kind. But at the end of the day, it's flavorless. It's for color. I'm going to put just a little swig of that on the meat. It's going to act as a binder, keeping the seasonings on the meat and allowing it to adhere to it better. And I'll just take like a little paring knife and I'll poke some holes in it but not go to the bottom. And you want to be back and forth. The reason why I'm doing that is because this is the thickest part of the meat, which will take it the longest to cook. And in order to get it cooked as evenly as this low end or this side over here, which is flat almost, you just want to put little holes in there. Now I'm going to do the same on this one. And I did also put a few, you know, down towards the bottom and everything, but that's about the most we'll do. And I'm just going to rub this all in really, really good. So now we're just going ahead and we'll step over here to our cast iron skillets that are already preheated to about medium high. And we'll put these right down in the oil. And repeat. So in there, we got about a tablespoon of oil in each pan. So we'll let that go ahead and get nice and deliciously brown. Our oven is already preheated to 350 degrees, so we'll be able to get this meat in the oven and finish up dinner. Okay guys, so now we're at the point where we're going to be taking our meat out. And we're going to put it into... just nice and golden everywhere. And we're going to put it into the roasting pan. From both of your cast iron skillets, you want to pour all that oil and all that flavor from that oil. You're going to pour that in there. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to make some gravy. But for the sake of time, we're going to cheat. But we're not going to cheat hard. You know, we just want to cheat a little bit, right? So here's where your cup of water comes in and out in this particular recipe. So you want to take, and you got that amount of oil, which is very little. Probably too little. And you want to add... we'll say about a tablespoon and a half. So we're going to take 2 packs of gravy mix. We're going to take a brown gravy and we're going to take a mushroom gravy. We're going to start by pouring those right in there. Now, this is also the way you go about making you some homemade gravy. There's a recipe for homemade gravy on this channel, too, the bomb. But it's just with flour. That's the only difference. Using flour versus using, you know, the gravy packets. And so then, anyway, you'll just begin to stir that around and around and around and around and around. And so what's good about this, using those gravy packets, is that they're already brown. So then you're going to have more of a rich color to your gravy than if you just use the flour. Of course, you can sit there, you could really cook out the flour and you can get it about this brown. But sometimes it can have a little bit of a burnt taste and nobody wants it. I don't want that flavor. That's not the one I'm going for. So anyway, I'll go ahead and at this point I'll pour in about excuse me, how much water did I use there? I used almost 2 cups of wawa. 2 cups of wawa. And then I just kind of continue to stir it down, right? Now I'll turn this up The heat, we're going for high heat. Or just for now. Okay, so this almost has no flavor, right? You just don't right now. So, as soon as we see a bubble in there, we're going to add cream of mushroom. This is just a family size can, but you can use a regular size can. It's just fine. We're going to turn that down because we're going in with this cream of mushroom soup. And we don't want it to burn us or whatever. So then now we'll just kind of stir that into there carefully. Because we know there's a lot in there, a lot going on. Hi, who is that, Riley? Oh, how was school? I love cast iron skillets though. I recommend to any new cook, you know, put that on your list. Don't just put toaster oven and stuff like that. Put that you want you a cast iron. Because they are wonderful to have. Now we're going to let that heat up. So we're going back up to medium heat. We're going to wait for a bubble like we did before. Okay, now that we're seeing some bubble action, we're going to add more water. Because at the end of the day, we really don't want this extremely thick. We want it right in the middle. And you'll see what in the middle looks like. Here's some. Now, as we can see, we're losing color because we're adding liquid, right? So let's go ahead and get some color in there. We're going in with some paprika. I wish I had some gravy browner. I just don't have any though right now. So we'll definitely add some paprika. And we want things with color. So we'll add a little Creole seasoning from Cajun choice. And I'm not talking about go hardcore and heavy on that. We want a little accent. Just a little bit. And we most definitely want some black pepper. Okay, guys, so I'm going to go in with a nice amount of onion powder. We did lots of garlic on the meat. Well, let's balance it out with some onion powder. So, yes, we're going to be liberal. And then, of course, we'll go ahead and begin to stir it in and just kind of whisk everything together. And this gravy is it's gonna come out really nice and golden. When everything cooks and cooks down in the oven, and the flavors all meet up, marry up, and it's just gonna be good. I can only tell you the truth. So now this, let me get a spoon, guys, because I want you to see that this is where we want that gravy. We don't want extra thick gravy going in that oven, cooking down and burning, especially because we're cooking at 350. And anybody who knows my cooking style, I'm low and slow, but I really just need to get this dinner done. So that's the only reason why I'm cooking that high. Oh, snap. Okay, so anyway, we'll just pour this right over to our meat. Now, the reason why I'm not really all that worried about the situation or what have you is because the meat is going to produce some water. So when we're cooking at 350 degrees, that's pretty high. That's a high temperature to me. It sure is to be cooking a roast. But it's still going to come out wonderful. But what's going to happen is it's going to produce some liquid to it. But what's going to allow it to cook a lot faster than if we didn't take the searing it route and things like that is the fact that we made the gravy and we're pouring the gravy over it. So by us pouring the gravy right on top, it's going to have a tenderizing effect on this meat, although we're cooking it at a very high heat for a roast. So then Let's see where we're at now. And we're about halfway through the cooking process. This cooking process is 6 hours for me. It's gonna be, I want it to be 6 hours, but we're gonna be able to check the meat, see where we're at. We know it's done, but we don't want no rubbery or tough meat. And plus we got some stuff to add to it, and usually I add what I wanted or needed to have added to it midway through cooking. So I'll probably do another couple hours, and in the back we're just gonna do some corn on the cob with it on the side, but we're gonna add some vegetables to this. Oh, it looks good. Oh my god. Yeah, it looks wonderful. Let me get on there, and then you guys can see for yourself, and you be the judge, okay? Judge it. I can't find a spoon. The first thing that we're gonna do, we're gonna taste the gravy, and we're gonna see if it is where we want it to be at. And then we're gonna check the tenderness of the meat itself as well. So we're gonna do those two things right now. Let's see how it tastes. Fantastic. It really, 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 I mean, there's nothing more or less that needs to go in here. So by it being so good and a little concentrated, we're going to take the last bit of our water. So this is the last cup. Remember, we started with 4 cups, and I told you you'd need water as we proceed. So we're going to take and we're going to put our potatoes in there. Oh yeah, this is one of those dishes that you don't have any leftovers. There's nothing left over. And then you're going to go, because you don't want it to start getting a little overly brown around the sides. So that's where you'll add on each corner just a little fluid with that last cup of water. And then you'll go ahead and you just add your vegetables as they make sense to you. Okay, so then you'll add some more vegetables, some carrots and stuff. And you're going to add a little mushrooms. And you're going to add a little celery. And you're going to add some onion. Of course, what would life be? Where's my chives? Okay, so at the very end, then I'll take a little bit of, maybe a little bit of chopped chives, fresh. I'll put them in there. They're really going to make that potato come through. Okay, guys, so now we'll just take a stick of butter and we'll just kind of pat here and there. Because especially with those potatoes and the carrots, you know, vegetables do taste better when they have a little bit of butter on them. So we're just going to put some pats here and there. And that's about what we're going to do. Let's see what else we're going to do. So I think that's good. That's about 3/4. Hold on. We'll put one more pat of butter. Where do we want it? That little corner right there, maybe. We'll just move them around to make sure they're evenly spread out. And that butter also allows your vegetables to cook faster. And the gravy allows for it to certainly cook faster. What we're going to do is we're going to go up on the temperature to about 300 and let me see how much liquid we got in there. We need a little bit more liquid. Where's some more? I need some more liquid. Oh, here. Here, guys. We're going to do about, by now, we're at a half a cup more of water. We're going to put it on the outside stuff. Okay. Bless you, sweetie. Okay. Sorry, that's our pepper. So we'll be back. We'll put it in the oven. We're going to go for another, we're going to go for 2 more hours. And then we'll be back. And maybe we'll dig in. Okay, guys. So it is the moment of truth. You know, the work that went into our pot roast. So I got a knife here. I'm not going to be able to do a lot of cutting, but we're just going to go ahead and check for tenderness, which is excellent. And then we're going to check and we're going to make sure our potatoes are done. And they are wonderful. Our carrots, they're done. And that is great. Okay, guys. So now we're just going to go ahead and we're going to cut into the roast. You want to go against the grain. And of course, once it really, really cools down, then what we'll do is we'll be able to cut it a little better. Yes, and that is perfect. See, when it wiggles and jiggles like that, you could tell the tender nature of the roast. Oh, that looks good. And we're going to sprinkle a little bit of paprika on there. We'll come back and, of course, we will serve our plate. Okay, guys, so we're just going to go ahead and plate up a plate. Plate up a plate. And then we got some pot roast. Let's get some potatoes on there. And let's do some carrots. Carrots and just everything. Okay. Let's do some mushrooms. And celery. And then we'll do some corn. And how about top it off with a biscuit? So that's it. That's all. God bless. Like, comment, share, subscribe.